Hi, this is Kate Bergeron, the publisher of the Branch Herald, and I am here as an just a informal discussion to talk about the 2025 legislative days for the Metrocrest Chamber of Commerce. They were yesterday and the day before, so that's February 26th and 27th. I was one of a handful of people who attended this fantastic, and yes, that's editorializing. This isn't the newspaper, although it is the um, YouTube channel. Fantastic organizational activity put on with or by Michael Gallups, the president and CEO of Metrocrest Chamber, as well as Crystal Lantana, and she is the Crystal Ratana Lowell is the chair of the Metrocrest Chamber Government Affairs Committee. Need to make sure I get that correct. And they just did a fantastic job of organizing this event. And it was the first one that the Metrocrest Chamber has put on. And I am so glad that I had the opportunity to be a part of it. It was pretty informal on Wednesday evening. We had dinner together. And as they were able, our local representatives came and joined us. So we had an opportunity to see them informally at dinner, get to know them. They could get to know us, and we could discuss legislation that were priorities for the individual people and businesses and organizations. It was pretty neat because that is where Cassandra Garcia Hernandez let me know that she had actually scheduled a town hall for here in Farmers Branch, not this weekend, next weekend on March 8th, I believe. I don't have that at my fingertips, so it is on the Branch Herald calendar, so go look at that. I've also put that out on Facebook to try to help get that published around town a little bit more, since our newsletter doesn't come out until after that event. But so that was just a nice evening to get to know each other. It was also fantastic from a personal and business point of view to be able to talk to some of the other business people that attended it. It was just a fantastic way to just have a couple hours to get to know each other. So I look forward to more of those types of activities. The size of having a different or a smaller set of people at a table was fabulous. And then Thursday started fairly early. We had breakfast. I'm getting my notes up because I don't remember all the names correctly. And I did not go to report on this activity. I should make that clear. I went so I could learn about how the Texas legislature works, how this process works. And so for me, it was all about the education. I didn't know much about how the Texas state government works. And I'm actually not sure if it works the same as it does in other states or if it's completely different. It is Texas. Things run a lot differently here in a lot of ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is very different from the other states. But on Thursday morning, we had breakfast with a speaker, the Texas Association of Business, another organization I didn't know existed. And he spoke on some legislative priorities, and then he talked about workforce development, economic growth, and the business climate in Texas. It was really a fascinating talk. He talked about a few things in Texas industry that I wasn't aware of. And even as I was listening to it, it didn't grab my interest until later, like on the drive home, and I was mulling it over. So a couple of examples. He said Texas has a space industry. Well, duh, we have Houston, right? We all know that this is where our astronauts and NASA is located. That's not what he meant. He specifically cited two different examples, and I haven't fact checked any of this, but it was this is what I've learned, and this is what I'm sharing. Specifically, he talked about low gravity surgery innovation. I wasn't thinking about that. And then he also mentioned about experimentation and technological innovation when it comes to asteroid mining or outer space mining. Okay, that was fascinating, but that was it. I mean, there wasn't much discussion about that. But as I got coming home, I'm like, low gravity surgery. That means that they are learning how to perform surgery away from Earth's gravity. Okay, that's really cool. So that was a little tidbit that I grabbed out of that. There was a lot of information. I was writing and writing, trying to keep it in my memory bank, but it was like learning from a fire hose in one day. And so I don't have much, but that little tidbit caught me because it was really interesting. So that was really neat. But there is a Texas Association of Business. I will be doing some research. I don't know much more about what they do than that. Then we were supposed to go on a Capitol tour, which we did, but that got postponed because our state representatives put in a resolution to recognize the Metrocrest Chamber of Commerce while we were there. So that was an interesting process to just sit in the gallery above the floor where the state representatives were. I really enjoy just sitting there and watching and seeing what people do and how they move. Can't hear a thing of what's happening down there other than the speaker speaking through the microphone. And it was just fascinating to watch. But eventually our resolution came up and all of the representatives gathered around, and Representative Rafael Anchia and Cassandra Garcia Hernandez read the resolution, and we have to stand. And apparently there's a video. I haven't looked at it, haven't looked for it, but there's a video of it that happened. So I thought that's kind of neat. That it's just it was neat to see that process. And then we did get a tour of the Capitol. I highly recommend it. The Texas Capitol building is gorgeous. It's also huge. The stats were amazing. I don't have my notes in front of me, but it seems like it is taller than the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. I do recall that there's like 1 million square feet, and most of it's underground. That was just super interesting too. So that information was there. And then we had lunch at Powering Texas. That was sponsored by Children's Health. So thank you, Crystal and Children's Health and Powering Texans. Powering Texans is a lobbying organization for there was a lot of different companies that had come together to create Powering Texans. And so it was fascinating to learn a little bit about natural gas. He said legacy coal power plants, and that they are very aware that the U.S. is very much needing these data centers and how much power those data centers are requiring. So that is on their radar. They're keeping an eye on it. They're working with the legislators to create the legislation to keep our grid maxed up for power, because they're well aware of the growth that is taking. Let's see. Then after that, we had 3.5 hours of presentations, which were pretty neat. State Senator Tan Parker led that off. And then, oh my goodness, my memory is not doing well. I believe State Representative Rafael Anchia got caught up in a committee meeting. I can't remember for sure if we saw him there. But we were given presentations by his office and State Representative Cassandra Garcia Hernandez. I do remember her stopping in. By the way, I'm looking at my notes. I remember her stopping in and talking about everything that they have been doing up for this legislative session. Then we had 5 different presentations from 5 different aspects of the the state government that I thought was pretty interesting. The Unclaimed Property Division is part of the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. They have billions of dollars of unclaimed property, and he gave us 2 websites and the job to go look for our unclaimed property right then. And I don't have any unclaimed property in Texas. But then he gave us another website that had, I think he said 48 states and territories on that. And I found some unclaimed property. So I told him, let me know, and we'll put together something to let people know how to get their unclaimed property. But yeah, do a search for unclaimed property and go look for money. He said a lot of it is cash, but there are unclaimed safe deposit boxes and all sorts of other unclaimed physical property as well. And it doesn't go away. If it's not claimed, the state just holds it and lets it stay there. So go grab your property and see if you have anything there. And then we were visited by Texas Facilities Commission. Mike Novak is the executive director, and he talked all about the Texas Facilities Commission is for Texas facilities, but it got started working with the Capitol building. And apparently they did such a phenomenal job on that. They did do a phenomenal job on that, at least what you can see from our perspective, that they get grabbed to do a lot of other building type stuff. It sounded like that was pretty interesting. And then we heard from the State Preservation Board. Let's see, his name was Chris Currens, Director of Special Projects. And he talked about the process of preserving the state capitol. So that was fascinating. And then the Texas Veterans Commission, James Crabtree, the Government Relations Director, spoke to us. And then the new director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, Freeman F. Martin, joined us. He took over the Texas Department of Public Safety, I believe, in November. I remember reading about the former director, and Freeman Martin sounded very enthusiastic to be taking over that position, and also enthusiastic about changing the driver's license processes, or making that better for sure. So that was that. And then after that all wrapped up, we all kind of went our separate ways out of the Capitol building and made our way back home up here to Farmers Branch. So from my perspective, it was really, really well organized. So good job, Michael and Crystal. We appreciate all of your hard work. I would recommend that. Even if you don't have the opportunity to go with the Metrocrest Chamber, if you are part of an organization that will allow you to go to Austin during some sort of a legislative days to see the legislature in action, do it. It is really interesting. And let me pull up a quick page so I can give you some dates. The Texas legislature only meets every other year for a short period of time. It convened on January 14th. The session adjourns on June 2nd. So every other year, that is all the amount of time that they have for a regular legislative session. The Governor Abbott can, and he probably will, because he did last time, requests special sessions for special emergency topics. That's up to the governor, but the regular session ends on June 2nd. So the last week and this coming week or two are really important, because March 14th is the deadline for our legislators, the deadline for them to file bills. So they are all just working hard, long days. You can see them on their feet. when you're in the Capitol building. And so, yeah, it was just pretty interesting. Let me know if you have questions. You can leave comments on YouTube or Facebook for this. And I hope you have a great time. And thank you for sitting through my very first live stream. Thank you, and we'll talk to you later. Again, this is Kate Bergeron with the Branch Herald.